I've been told to react to Sierra's little or not apology, but she speaks on Nick and Alandria, and I am completely going into it completely blind. So let's just get right into it.
Coming off of the show has been a whirlwind, to say the least. There's been a lot of adjusting and absorbing and just dealing with the consequences of my actions. A lot of you have
That's usually what happens when you say racist shit, but I digress.
had some great advice. You haven't been shy in my DMs to tell me to touch grass and move on with my life, move on from the show. Like I said, I think it's great advice. I've been touching a lot of grass, and I too want to move on from the show. The reality is that I just had this insanely unique experience that took months of my life and has now changed the course of my life. There are so many layers to it. There's how I remember things happening, and then there's how it was edited and spit out into the world, and then there's how the world digested it, and then how the internet dissected it, and there's so many opinions and perspectives layered in between all of it. I have a lot to say about it, and you guys have a lot of questions about it. There's a lot of questions that I feel like only I can provide the answers to. I could have done this in a million different ways. I could have gone on a podcast. I could have given an exclusive or something to a magazine. I think the first step for me in giving myself closure from this chapter of my life and moving on to see what I can be next and how I can grow from here is releasing. I'm also sick, which is why I sound so nasally. I think it's just my body fighting off the stress and the travel and everything, but I didn't want to delay this any longer.
Would I be wrong if I said that's her body fighting off racism?
So let's get into it. When I opened up my question box, I was absolutely expecting to see tons of this because I've seen it in the headlines, I've seen it in the comments. That's heavy, and it's something that I have to deal with, but it's something that I know that I am not. I'm a proud person of color. I'm a proud Latina. I can only say in so many words that that's not who I am. What matters most is my actions, and there's a lot of actions that I'm partaking in that I am not displaying because people are already labeling me as performative and calculated. And if I tell you the conversations that I'm having or the charities or the education, people are only going to say it's to clean up my image or to do this or to do that. So I think what matters most is I am doing the work, and me doing the work might be different than what you view as doing the work. There are a lot of people who can accept accountability and growth and give me the chance to prove. So that's what I want to stay rooted in. Me continuing to post and live my life is not me ignoring that this has happened. I promise you, I am dealing.
Let me see something really quick. Sorry, y'all. I put my shit on the wrong thing. Alright.
Dealing with it every single day. Consequences are being faced, but I have to put one foot in front of the other, and that's the only way people learn is by making mistakes, being corrected, and changing habits to be better. I have a lot more to yap about a lot that you want to know. So let's get into the next topic. One of the top comments or questions I received is about my PR and media training, which when I first came out of the villa, I was like, they clocked that I'm smart. I love that. I took it as a compliment. And then the more that I saw it, I was like, oh, this is not a compliment. They really think I've been training for this shit like it was the Olympics. You guys, what? Like, I don't have the money for a publicist, nor do I have the time to sit there and train for a reality dating show. Like, it is never that serious. I will tell you is my education is something that I've always taken very seriously. My parents didn't graduate high school, let alone college, and the fact that I was able to and given the opportunity to, like, I took that shit.
Y'all ever notice how when people say like some off the wall like racist shit, or when they get in their self in a debacle where I don't know, they just always feel like they have to like defend themselves by just going on this long tangent about how hard they had it at one point, and it's like, I don't know, whatever.
Serious, and I love to read, and I love podcasts, and written a lot of emails. I've journaled a lot. I yap a lot. I can see how you're like piecing things together about my career and people I'm friends with, and like my Love Island themed birthday party, which isn't something I planned. Like, my friends planned that for me as a surprise birthday party because I was a fan of the show. Like, I did like the show. And to me, it was all just like alignment and manifestation that it worked out that I happened to be on it. It was never something I was like putting like, I need to be on this thing. It's my destiny. I'm gonna train for it forever.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, so if anybody cares, I actually, when they was like recasting for Love Island, right? Obviously, I'm not gonna go on that goofy ass show, but I was just curious as to what the questions were that they ask you in order to be on there. Mind you, when you go to apply for that shit, they ask you some very personal and deep questions. Matter of fact, it's like they just ask you some very deep shit, like, and you have to agree to a lot of stuff to be on that show. So I don't know, Cierra, I don't know.
Yes, I have had friends who were on the show. I kept my experience, my audition, very close to myself. I didn't feel like I needed to ask them for advice on how to navigate. The friends that I had that went on the show, I am so different from them. Even if they had given me a play-by-play on how to do shit, like, do you really think I could sit in there and strategize and like be this mastermind and sit in there and execute on top of all the emotions I'm feeling, on top of the lack of sleep, on top of everything? Like, it just would have never been possible. And people think that I like went in and I've only wanted to be an influencer, he just wants followers. I went on the show with no expectations. Like, when I went in, I was like, I feel like I'm at such a good place in my life. I have great family. I have amazing friends around me. I have a business that's thriving that I've worked really hard to build. I feel like I've rebuilt myself to have a really strong mental capability at this time. Like, if there's anything I need help with, it's love. Like, men is something I cannot figure out. And if this opportunity is falling into my lap, how am I not supposed to entertain it? I've worked in influencer marketing for years. I've been on the brand side of the industry. I've worked really hard in my career. I now own a business. I have my own talent agency, but I've always been on the back end. Like, that's where I'm comfortable. I'm really grateful that the opportunity came, even in how it's unfolded. But was it ever something I was dedicated?
Somebody in the chat said men are simple. They really are. And that was a man saying that.
My life to training for?
Facts.
No. That's just how I talk. That's just how I am. I don't always say the right things, but sometimes I do. And I don't know, I never thought that would be held against me. Which brings me to the long-awaited story time of how I was asked to leave the villa. Triggering trauma. I have to smile about it or else I'll cry about it. I have to give it to you guys because at a time when I was distraught, I was actually laughing at the videos that you were creating about me getting like woken up in the middle of the night or something, because that was funny. I'll give it to you. It's not how it happened though. It was actually a glorious day. The birds were chirping, the sun was out. It was the 4th of July. I thought I would put on my cute little red checkered bikini in the name of the American holiday. And I was making raspberry lemonade for the crew. Like, I literally used fresh squeezed lemons, put raspberries in, and they broke us for lunch. I remember I was having a chat with the girls and I was like, I am gonna be so sad to leave you guys. You guys have been such an amazing part of my experience. Saying goodbye is gonna be so hard. I was telling Huda, like, I can't wait for FaceTime dates with your daughter, and I got pulled to a producer chat. These are really normal, like, you have them check in throughout the day. This one obviously felt different. They pulled me and they just said to me point blank, there's been some posts that have surfaced on your social media that don't align with our values. They don't align with the network's values, and we don't have any choice but to remove you from the show. So many thoughts were going through my...
I've seen so many TikToks of like people recording her in the background and like screaming. I'm sure y'all seen it, but I really want to know. I hope she answers that, because I really want to know if that was her in the background yelling.
Brain, it was a lot to process. They had showed me the posts and I just broke down. I started crying. My immediate reaction was, okay, I understand, you know, this is really serious. Can I just say my goodbyes? They said no. So I didn't get to say goodbyes. In that moment, that was the hardest part, especially because I had just been talking with them about how hard it was going to be for me to say goodbye to them. It really, really hurt. Things were ending and I didn't have any closure. It was sad, it was emotional, but it wasn't abrasive. It wasn't this explosive thing that everybody felt and I was screaming in confessionals and doing all of this. It was just tears. A lot of people also wanted to know if I was expecting Nick to leave with me. Did I want him to leave with me? Fuck, it would have been nice, but did I expect it? Absolutely not. I had to deal with my own shit. That wasn't something that he signed up for or that I would ever want him to attach himself to. I wanted him to stay and see through his time in the same way that I did. Was I surprised when he didn't? No. And I was actually okay with the fact that he chose himself, and I would never hold that against him. One of the most shocking things for me coming out of the villa was seeing the perception of my relationship with Huda. I thought that we had a really great bond inside the villa. You guys didn't get to see a lot of the friendship building that happened off camera. With Huda, especially in the beginning, I was attached to her.
This is why it's so fucking hard to actually react to this shit, because if you think about it, there's so much shit that we do not see, like when it comes to like Love Island and stuff. We don't see everything. They just show us what they want us to see. So
I think you guys saw when we had the moment where I kind of reality checked her in a way. I told her, like, hey, I almost sent you home last night. I am a graduated crash out. I have been through what she was going through with Jeremiah before. I saw this whole vision for her, this redemption arc. Like, I really wanted her to rewrite the narrative and show America the Huda that I was seeing. Nick and I, we were coupled up at the time, and we had our first argument about it. Like, he couldn't understand why I had kept Huda around. And I just remember feeling like I really fought for her and like put myself in an uncomfortable situation in my couple to be like, no, I see so much more in this girl. I see more for her than what she's displaying in this relationship, and I want her to have that.
I just want to tell y'all what pissed me off the most about Cierra on Love Island. It was like towards the end. I believe it was when Taylor was on the chopping block, right? And Cierra had the chance to like stand behind, I don't remember exactly who the fuck it was, but I remember and I'm pretty sure, and like I said, we don't know these people, so like I'm not 100% sure, but she went behind Taylor instead of like one of the girls. I don't know if it was the one lady, her name was like Adriana. Damn, I can't remember her name. But she went behind Taylor to save Taylor, and I believe, in my personal opinion, I really believe she went her ass behind Taylor because Nick initially went behind Taylor, and I think Cierra just is basically one of those. I think she seems as if she's kind of male like driven, if that makes sense. So I really do genuinely believe she stood her ass behind Taylor because Nick did.
opportunity and that
Talking about Cierra
experience.
girls,
And
yeah.
so when I had that heart to heart with her, I feel like that was another pivotal point in our
Mind
friendship.
you, mind you, I'm pretty sure at this time Taylor was trying to get Huda out, so I'm pretty sure like that's kind of crazy. But I digress.
There was a clip that I was upset about something that was happening with Nick and I, and it was just Huda and I in the dressing room, and she was asking me, like, do you want to talk about it? And I was ignoring her. That didn't happen that way. I didn't ignore her. We had a whole moment where I didn't speak, but we hugged. Like, we said a lot without words. And the reason I wasn't speaking is because I had just calmed myself down from crying, and if I spoke again, I felt like I was going to cry, and so I was like, okay, no, I'm just going to be held in this moment. And she understood that. Fast forward to the heart rate challenge. Everyone is like, did Huda do too much? Why were you such a mean girl? What did we not see? Huda has amazing moves, okay? And one of her signature moves is like licking the genitals, okay, of the man. She did it to Jeremiah during the Dominatrix challenge when she was coupled up with him, but in the heart rate challenge she did it to Ace, and Chris had made it like halfway around the circle. He was already halfway through the girls while Huda was still focused on Ace, and the guys honestly clocked it before the girls did. Like, I'm looking around and the guys are looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on? I think, you know, even Huda has come out and said that she's taken accountability and she would have moved differently had she known that it would have had the effect that it did. Shelly is my girl. I've never seen her be uncomfortable or lose her composure once, and I could feel her energy that this like really upset her. In that time, I was not going to disinvalidate her, especially.
Now, while I do agree that it was just a challenge and everything, I do also believe that Shelly had every right to get upset at the same time. Only because, like, then again, y'all have to remember, like I said previously, I feel like Love Island only shows us what they know will get us talking, because obviously they need views, they need people talking about the show, so they're obviously gonna show us the shit that we're gonna like, you know. And it's kind of crazy because they really set these people up that go on this show for failure, because they pretty much edit the show however the fuck they want to edit it, and then we just have to go off of that. So if someone gets a bad edit, they're pretty much cooked.
Especially when everyone was looking around like, okay, that was a bit too much. Even the guys were admitting, like, okay, that was a bit too much. Huda herself was admitting that was too much. There's a viral moment where I was like, wait, Huda raised Ace's heart? Like, and I made a face. I didn't clock that her performance actually raised his heart rate the most. So I was like, ugh, this is messier than I thought it was. I thought it was just the performance that was an issue, but no, it's that he actually enjoyed it, or at least one of his heartbeats enjoyed it. Like, that's messy. And that was clocked and taken out of context completely. The next day was the Stand on Business challenge, which, by the way, was the most uncomfortable point in the season. That challenge lasted all night, like 6, 7, maybe 8 hours. I remember seeing the sun coming up at some point, and they were like, we've got to wrap this up. Huda had to be up there for maybe 30 minutes. The time that I was like making all of these faces, it was definitely taken out of context. If anything, I was hella uncomfortable. And also, guys, everyone's like, why are you always pouting? Why are you doing this duck face? I have raging anxiety. I like chew the inside of my lip. Someone's gonna clip this. I just, all day long, I was not making those faces at the times that they were shown. It was genuinely me being hella uncomfortable with the entire situation and how it was playing out, and it's just really sad that it was all taken that way. I know that since the season has ended, Huda's come out and said that she was bullied and she didn't have any friends in the villa. I don't take bullying lightly. I think that's awful. I don't think anyone should be treated disrespectfully.
That anybody, I honestly, like, when people be saying, getting death threats and stuff like that off of this show, I think that's a drag. I definitely think that's a drag, because nobody should be getting death threats because of how they acted on a TV show that is heavily edited. However, I think a lot of the shit that you know, Huda did was kind of a drag. She did take a lot of accountability, you know, and she would do that, but at the same time, she would drag it a lot. I'm not gonna lie, she would be on that show dragging the fuck out of shit. And then the biggest problem I had with Huda was the fact that when she was, it was like towards the end when her and Chris was in the bed and he was trying to go to sleep and she was like, oh, if you don't turn around, like, you know, and this is just what we saw. What we saw, I'm just speaking off of what we saw, what was edited for us. But when she was saying like, oh, if you don't turn around, like, I'm gonna be in a bad mood all day tomorrow towards you. And I feel like if that was the other way around, like, she wanted to have sex with him from what my understanding was. And she was basically using like, oh, I'm going to be upset with you tomorrow if you don't have sex with me, instead of like prioritizing your sleep. And I feel like if that was the other way around, and like that was a dude doing that to a girl, it would have been a fucking uproar. But
no matter what they've done, like even in her peak of crash outs, I was making sure that everyone was treating her with respect and really fighting for her. And even the times that I was taking distance, like I still felt, at least for me, like I thought everything was okay and I was still trying to comfort her in those moments. And I hate to know that she feels differently about it. With her saying that I'm the fakest, I think that when you come out of the villa and you absorb all of this information at a rapid pace and you see all of the edits, like it kind of fucks with you. You're like, what's real and what's not? And did this person say that and this and that? I think the only thing that keeps me grounded in the situation is remembering my reality, my experience. And I always remember positive feelings, and anytime I had negative feelings, I expressed them to her. And even in then, like, I was showcasing them to her from a point of love and from a point of like wanting things to be better. So I am proud of her. I'm really happy for her that she's had this redemption arc that I wanted for her from the beginning. No matter what place we're at, I do wish nothing but the best for her. And it's sad how things played out, but it's all love on my end. Do I genuinely believe I got a bad edit? No. Were there certain things that irritated me due to choice, bad editing? Yes. The mean girl shit was really getting to me because I was like, it does look like I'm being mean, but I'm not a mean girl. What the fuck? And am I your dream girl? Like, that conversation didn't happen that way. The Hannah vote. This one is always going to be so sore to me because everyone always asks, like, do you still stand by it? Does it make sense? Make it make sense. And the thing is I cannot make it make sense. And you would think that the way that people are coming for me for it, I casted the vote myself. But, like, there were 4 of us who made the decision together unanimously. Voting is never fucking easy. Like, it was the most uncomfortable thing, and there were few people in the villa that had to participate in every single vote, and I am one of them. And every single time the logic behind it was different, and no, it never made sense. At the time of the Hannah vote, it was Hannah, Iris, and Amaya standing up there. We all sat down. Someone was like, I believe it was Huda, she was like, I'm not sending home Amaya. And we all agreed unanimously, like, honestly, yes, Amaya is not in question. Let's think about this connection wise, like, who has the strongest connection? And another person was like, is that the right way to do this? You know, like, is that the most logical way to do this, by only thinking about the strong connections? The guys said that Amaya should have went home that night. Like, she's the one that had like the least ties and really didn't have a connection. Hello, Amaya came back and won the fucking season and won the heart of America. Like, I'm so glad that she was there to do that. It was never.
And low key, I don't know if anybody else know. Well, of course, there's so many people that watch this, but I hated how everybody switched up on Amaya as soon as they found out how loved she was by America. Everybody was being rude to her, saying how she's like, I don't know, they were just saying shit about her. I don't remember exactly, but nobody was fucking with her until they found out that she was like the most popular. And then all of a sudden, it's especially Zach. He was all in her face, like trying. No, absolutely not.
Like, I think they're a strong couple, they're standing in the way of my money. Like, you're not in there thinking about the money. There's so much going on, you forget that there's this like prize at the end, and that is the genuine, honest.
So telling me in the back of your mind that 100K wasn't on your brain?
Truth about it. Even thinking about it now, as much as I can say, I could never make it make sense, honestly, because that was a vote that I never wanted to do, deciding between those three girls. And I know I was clipped saying, like, she should be grateful, she got to experience two connections. I was really just trying to have a glass half full mentality and like trying to spit some positivity into a really heavy and negative situation. And maybe that wasn't the time for me to try to see the North Star, because it was just completely used against me. But at the end of the day, I wish Hannah could have stayed. I do think her experience was cut too short. There was just never going to be a right answer. It's going to be just like rapid fire random villa questions. We never know what time they woke us up. Sometimes we would wake up and see that the sun hadn't risen yet, and other times we'd wake up and be like, oh, I think it's about noon. Yes, so many people swam in the pool, you just didn't see it because we couldn't wear our mics in the pool, aka it wasn't anything worth being filmed, but people were diving, playing volleyball. The pool definitely got used. The boys were in charge of cooking us breakfast every single morning, and then we had lunch and dinner catered, and for lunch and dinner they would separate the boys and the girls. So girls would eat on one side of the villa, boys would eat on the other, and you were never allowed to talk about anything that was happening inside the villa, which is like where so much bonding happened, because you got to know who people were for their core. And some of my favorite moments were made at lunch and dinner. Also at night, everyone would get the munchies, and the boys would usually chef up like grilled cheeses and bacon, egg, and cheese and pancakes and lots of snacks, lots of cookies, lots of sour strips. So many days I woke up and did not want to put a bikini on, especially after eating all the pancakes and all the cookies the night before. I was like, damn, can we wear workout clothes? But they were very strict, like, no, girls, you have to be in bikinis and you have 30 minutes to get yourself together to do so. I was homesick every single day, honestly. I missed my parents.
You know what? I feel like whoever is in charge of Love Island is on some P. Diddy shit. And I'm gonna say that with my full chest. Because what the fuck do you mean? We have to wake up when you tell us to. We don't know what time it is. We can only do basically whatever you tell me to do. You gotta spit in milk in each other's mouths and kissing each other and grinding on each other. Like, this doesn't sound P. Diddy-ish to y'all? Sounds pretty P. Diddy-ish to me.
And my family and my friends so much, and it was really hard not being able to talk to them, but I was really trying to stay like present and grateful for the moment and the experience that I was having. I think before every challenge you kind of got these like butterflies, and I always say never confuse nerves for excitement. It was just so in the moment, and you had no choice just to like go all out, and I feel like everyone thrived off of each other's energy, so I feel like the excitement outweighed the nerves. My favorite challenge was either the fourth base challenge because it was so outrageous, or the pie challenge because I got to kiss Shelly, or the heart rate challenge because it's such an iconic Love Island challenge, and like the outfit and the energy and then winning it, like that was just such a fun moment for me. There are too many things to name that went on that were not shown. You guys saw such a snippet of such a crazy long experience, so many minutes in a day that couldn't be broadcasted, but I would say like the depth of the relationships and the depth of the conversations that were being had definitely weren't shown. My favorite part of each day was getting ready for the nighttime with the girls, just like doing our makeup and yapping and seeing everyone's cute outfits, and like Shelly and I would do this model walk every single night. It's just like a good omen to make sure that we had a good time, and it was just like so girly, and I'd never had sisters, and it just really felt like a sisterhood moment, and I miss that dressing room. It was cute in there. Not having our phones, being away from social media, not having a fucking clue what was happening in the outside world was by far the best part of the experience. It made me realize, like, damn, this is really how humans should be living. It brought out so much raw conversation and raw emotion, and coming back into all of it, I'm like, damn, I kind of missed the peace. Music was such a gift in the villa. Anytime the speaker came out was like such a treat. Majority of the time it was silent. For the challenges, we were sober and silent. It was purely just thoughts, vibes, energy. You never really felt like you were being recorded, or at least I didn't. Like, you would just forget, honestly. No, we could never get our nails done. The boys got to get haircuts, but we could never get our nails done. The girls were, like, if you saw my shit, it was hella grown out. I was begging for press-ons by the end of it. It was bad. Every night was different. I want to say we averaged 4, maybe 5 hours a night. Some days I would wake up and I'd be like, no, I didn't sleep. Like, I just closed my eyes. What do you mean? But we never knew the time, so you never actually knew how much sleep you got. Sometimes wardrobe would come in if it was like a big night and provide things for you to wear, like Megan Thee Stallion night, things were provided. Some of the recouplings we had options to wear, but majority of the time I just chose to select my own wardrobe. I don't even fuck with pancakes like that, but something about those villa pancakes smacked every single time. I was like craving them every morning and every night. Non-filming days, chill days were the best because there was just no pressure to do anything. You could work out for as long as you wanted. You didn't have to wear any makeup. You could wear whatever you wanted. I usually chose to do a workout, swim in the pool, sleep, listen to music. You're not allowed to smoke tree. It's illegal in Fiji, but people would take like vape and cigarette breaks. Nicest islander was probably Elan. Elan is such a sweetheart. Yes, Maybelline came through. Everything that was on the shelves was free for us to use, and I definitely used and abused all of it. Actually, that may be the worst part of the experience, was having to do your makeup every single day, sometimes twice a day. Like, I was so tired. My makeup brushes were like, girl, put me down, please. My skin was feeling it, but at the end of the day, look good, feel good, so I would do it all again if I could. My favorite couple is avoiding this one. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like my feelings about it change every day, and it's so complex. Like, there's so many layers involved to it. I don't think I could ever explain it in a way where I could expect everyone to understand. At its core, I'm just a girl who liked a boy. I'm mourning a relationship and going through like kind of like a breakup almost, and like a lot of people won't understand that because it's like, oh, it's a dating show and you only knew each other for X amount of weeks. What I will say about Nick and I's relationship is, throughout it all, despite what you guys saw, we were both doing our fair share of exploring. Our kind of like unwritten rule was that we wouldn't ask each other about how they felt about other people, how we felt about other people. Where we found comfort and solidarity is like taking our minds outside of the villa. Like, we avoided the where's your head at, how are you feeling, and we just talked about like the most random shit and just bonded over like life outside of the villa. There's so much of it that you guys didn't get to see, and you know, it is what it is. But when Casa Amor happened, that was, I think, a turning point for both of us. You know, like, it took me so much to get to a place where I could let my walls down and really feel for someone. In that moment that I was back at the fireplace and I thought that Nick was gone, I had this moment of clarity where I was like, why is he gone? Like, he should be here. I want to be with him. And that's kind of when I knew that he was the person I wanted to be with. He came back and he told me that he missed me and told me about his Casa experience. Like, I was on such a high from thinking that he was gone and then realizing that he was back and hearing that he just was thinking about me this whole time. So I thought, when I realized Nick was back, I had given all my attention to him, obviously. So when I was with Alandria off camera, I was like, girl, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy to see you. Like, obviously 2 nights before, I was just sobbing my fucking eyes out because she had left. She's one of my closest friends in there and like one of my confidants and one of my people, you know? And I told her, I'm so glad you're here. And she was like, girl, I have to talk to you because, you know, Nick and I were coupled up. So obviously we had to explore. And then it was cut off. Like, we had to save the rest of the conversation for the chat we were going to have. But the way that she displayed it to me in that moment, like the quotation marks, I was like, okay, they had to explore. And I was already jumping to conclusions. I'm like, they're okay, so maybe they like cuddled and maybe they kissed. Like, I'm already kind of, you know, setting myself up for what she's going to tell me. Fast forward, Nick and I had this chat, and yeah, he did tell me about the kiss, but I like, I don't know, I felt maybe it was downplayed, maybe it was the way that he expressed it to me, but it never felt like it was something that I had to worry about, especially because he was also telling me that it gave him clarity and that he wanted to be with me. And at that moment, after all of the emotions and after missing him and realizing how strong my feelings were for him, then after Alandria had also told me, like, yes, we kissed, but I felt nothing, like, at this point, these are two people that I trust and that I care for, and God forbid I believe them. Like, I believed that what they were telling me, there's no spark, there's no chemistry, you have nothing to worry about. Like, I chose to ride with that. And was there a part of me that was like, fuck, should I be mad about this? Of course. But I think in there you have to.
Hold on, hold on, Cierra, because you acted like damn near the whole time, you acted like, oh, you were like, oh, girl, I'm just glad at you, Alondria. I'm just glad at you because you're my girl. And then as soon as Iris said something that negated that, you were like,
to choose what you're gonna give your emotion to, you know? And it takes so much more energy out of me to be upset about something and to hold a grudge than it does to just take steps to go forward. And in that moment, like, I just wanted to move forward with my friendship with Alandria and with my relationship with Nick, and I wanted to believe that that kiss was nothing. Now, when I came out of the villa, mind you, I come out thinking that Nick and I are in this amazing place and, you know, we're closed off and we have these strong feelings for each other. I already knew that the situation I was stepping into in my reality with, like, what I was dealing with my misuse of words, like, I already knew that that was gonna deter anything that could involve us. But coming out to see that the whole internet, football franchises, his family was rooting for them to be together the entire time that him and I were together. Like, yeah, that hurt. And even when I first saw it, it didn't click to me. Like, I still wanted to believe, like, okay, but, you know, these people don't really know what it was like in there, and they don't know all the relationships that we have with each other and the dynamics. And, like, as the episodes went on and as I watched as a viewer from someone on the outside and I saw their connection forming, I was like, damn, okay, it fucking hurts, but I think two things can exist at once. Like, I can be sad for myself that I'm mourning this relationship and all of these things that I thought were gonna happen between us, and I can also be happy for two people that I care about. But as days went on and I didn't hear from either of them, the more hurt I became. Like, I feel like when I first came out and I could appreciate the friendships and the relationships and the memories that we had all shared and find beauty in their situation, it was because I thought that, like, they could come out and, I don't know, I guess embrace me. But as the days went on and it just kind of felt like I never existed, and like the friendship Alandria and I shared had never existed, and the relationship that Nick and I shared had never existed, like, that shit hurts. Being shut down with no closure, like, it's closure that I've had to provide for myself, and it's a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I'm fucking hurt, but I'm also a fucking adult. I have other shit to deal with. Like, there's a lot in my life that I have to put together, and I'm just going through the motions. So how do I feel about Nick and Alandria? I'm happy for them. Does it hurt? Of course. But I think they can both exist. I think I can be hurt and wish them the best. And that's just what it's gonna have to be. I'm asking where we stand now, and the answer is that we don't. We don't stand on any business. I think, like, a lot of comments are throwing my line back at me where I say, if I can take your man, he was never your man to begin with. And I still stand by that. If you can take my man, you can have him. Like, it's very clear to me, we are not meant to be. It was never my situation to end up in. How it unraveled is fucking crazy. It's all one of one. But I never need a man to tell me twice that he doesn't want me. And I can only speak to know that, like, my feelings were real. And I think I would drive myself in circles trying to figure out if his were real or not. I'll always cherish the really one-on-one experience that we did have and focusing on healing from it.
I don't care about that. I'm gonna have to stop my stream and then restart it, y'all. So bear with me now. Bear with me.